about a 30-second delay.
Okay.
Let me see if it's actually going out on YouTube. Didn't seem we were having a problem here, but definitely having a problem on the stream. Yeah, I'm getting the same error. It just says, please try again later. It's on the YouTube side.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're having a problem, but we're definitely broadcasting.
And we're recording though, so we can post it later.
Yeah.
That's all that I care about.
So that's
Okay.
the second time. I haven't seen this error before. It's definitely on
That's
the
fine.
YouTube side.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as we can post it later, that's people can go back and watch it.
Okay.
Okay, so we talked about lighting the angels and the Wellman Loop. I actually had one thing that I wanted to bring up, and that was that the Woodlands Area Chamber of Commerce was kind enough to give us a neat little gift here, which I'm sure Courtney can find somewhere good for this to go. And it's a 30-year member award. So that's kind of a neat deal. So Courtney, I'll leave this up to you as to where you want to put this. Certainly doesn't need to go in my office. That's the city's. I'll put this up here. Okay, and with that, let's move into item 7, which is discussion and possible action to approve the holiday schedule for 2021.
Mayor and Council, this is a yearly recurring item that we bring to your attention for approval of the 2021 holiday schedule for the city. Included in the agenda is the proposed dates as well as the holidays that associate with those dates.
Motion to approve.
Second.
So I have a motion by Councilman Broad. I think I have a second by Councilman Raymaker. Do we have any discussion?
So is this run by, and I ask this every year, the employees to see if these are the preferred holidays? Is this just, we're just continuing on kind of what we've been doing?
I believe, and Courtney can confirm, I think we're just continuing what we've been doing.
Okay. I just was curious if we'd had any thoughts on other holidays, or if any there had been some other comments, so. All right.
So maybe just make a note in next time we have an employee survey that
That's
includes that
what I would
question
ask,
on
yeah,
there.
to see, because I know we did this several years ago, because they appreciate the birthday or the floating holiday, so you don't have to take it on your birthday. I know we added that or adjusted that. We talked about adjusting that maybe several years ago, just kind of next year, ask what the employees really want.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Maybe put it on some sort of a employee survey and see what they have to say. Okay, anybody else, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Item 8, presentation of a final report regarding proposed zoning amendment for a special use permit for a garage apartment attached/unattached. The proposed zoning amendment is for 411 Twisted Oak Court, Shenandoah, Texas 77381.
Council, this is a special use application for 411 Twisted Oak for the garage apartment. The proposed SUP would allow for a 1,016 square foot living space with a exterior porch and a carport or porte-cochere along the exterior.
There's an updated drawing, I heard?
The applicant had sent in some other alternate renderings for the elevation facing the street, a possibility of including windows along the front and then a door and removing the fixed garage door that was pictured in the agenda packet.
But structurally, no changes?
Correct.
On the footprint? Okay.
Yeah. Well, the face doesn't really change. The interior components may change a little bit, shifting of the access to the upstairs, but yeah.
So I don't have to worry about encroachment on easements or anything like that?
No, we've confirmed that, and then also the Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this at their last 2 meetings and did unanimously recommend approval.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. We'll move to item 9, which is a public hearing regarding the proposed zoning amendment for a special use permit for the garage apartment at 411 Twisted Oak Court, Shenandoah, Texas. We'll open the public hearing at 7:14. Would anybody like to speak during the public hearing? Okay. We will close the public hearing then at 7:15. And we will move to item 10, which is discussion and possible action to adopt the following ordinance. An ordinance of the City of Shenandoah, Texas, amending the Code of Ordinances for a special use permit for a garage apartment at 411 Twisted Oak Court, Shenandoah, Texas. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve by Councilman Christie.
Second.
I have a second by Councilman McLeod. Do we have any discussion?
Yes. This might be more of an IDC update that we could make,
Yeah.
but I know it's a nice-looking project. But I know that cities like Westview and Bel Air don't allow to have garage apartments, and at what point do we stop allowing garage apartments? And when they start getting rented out, so you've got a single piece of property that could have two rentals on it potentially. I know we've thought about this in terms of Airbnbs before.
Well,
I'm just saying that's
there's a
something
few
that
that
we-
already exist in the city.
Pardon?
There's a
Yeah.
few that already exist in the city.
I know that there are.
And the-
I'm just saying that
right.
we probably need to look at the IDC to stop any further escalation.
I was actually going the other direction. I was wondering why we have to get an SUP for, I mean, if as long as it meets building code, I don't care if they put a room above their. So I think those are two separate conversations, and that's what Kathy and I talked about this week. If somebody wants to build an extra room or living space or whatever above their garage, as long as it meets code, I don't think that should come to council. That's not a policy decision. Now, if we want to talk about whether or not we want to allow people to have rental properties, I think that's a whole different discussion, right? I
Yeah,
think,
not just the rental properties, but, in the case where you've got one rental property, yeah, okay, you've got a rental property. Now if I have basically 2 units that I can rent on a
It becomes
property.
multifamily as
Yeah, now
opposed
we're in a
to single
multifamily
family.
situation.
So-
And that's not something that we need to address today, but I
Right.
think it is something for the IDC that, how many do you want to have? What if every house on every street had a garage apartment? It would get pretty congested.
I think that's a conversation worth having. I just
Yeah.
think that we're talking about two different conversations. One is what it is, the second is what it's used for, and so what somebody builds on their own piece of property, as long as it meets code, as long as it's, I don't care. Now, what they use it for, there's a multitude of things that you can't just
Yeah.
randomly use your house for inside a residential community. So I don't think that's a bad discussion to have. I just think they're two separate discussions. So for my purpose, it's like I told Kathy earlier this week, I'd like to really see us get to the point to where somebody doesn't have to ask for an SUP to make a renovation to their house like this. Really, as long as it meets code, it's their business.
Right.
But I don't disagree with you about the intended, and I'm not saying that in this
Today,
case.
it's not a
I'm not saying that
problem.
is in this case, but if the intended use were different, then maybe that's a conversation to have.
Well,
Yeah.
I think Councilman Raymaker's got a point, I mean,
Yeah.
right, it is the use.
Right.
And the IDC is something we've all had conversation about in the
Yeah.
past, that it is something that needs to be addressed, I mean, in a lot of different ways,
So then could I interject, possibly council putting for residential use in section 1 of the ordinance? It says the Code of Ordinance, chapter 1 to 2 hereby amended to approve a special use permit for garage apartment attached and unattached for residential use.
I mean, I think it was Councilman Christie's motion, if I'm not mistaken, so
Well,
he can make it, whatever, but, I mean, from my perspective,
We're just discussing it.
yeah.
Right.
From my perspective, that's a one-off, right? We'd be doing that
I don't
to
know. that-
one person.
I don't know that that's really
Yeah.
necessary in this, now, if we've begun the process of addressing it in the IDC and
That's a different
those types of
ballgame,
things,
yeah.
now, then all of a sudden we set that precedence and move forward from there.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask Jackie, if we were to do that, this really just has to do with the construction of it. And once it's constructed, or, you know, they sell it to, it's not like it's gonna be binding.
No, an SUP, but not for construction, Mike. That's for
what I'm-
occupancy.
It's for occupancy, right? But in the future, is that gonna restrict the use of that building?
No, because it goes with the property. No, it won't. I mean, that's why I'm saying the ordinance was why I interjected what I said. Okay.
Does that make sense?
And it's nothing to, well, in Jackie's thing, said it was a business, and that's what I'm trying to avoid, okay?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you is, you know, someone could pop up a shop later. I mean, they're gonna stay here forever. We had this
No,
discussion.
it's not-
We're all staying forever.
We're just talking about language on.
Right, I know,
I'm not-
that's why I'm asking her.
So two things to that point. The, that section 4210 that allows for the garage apartment per the IDC specifically has in the definitions of a garage apartment, it calls it out as a dwelling unit. But
Okay.
to the flip side of that, if you would start looking at somebody occupying that space as more than just a dwelling unit, like for commercial work,
Is
or
there a
like that,
definition
there's-
of dwelling?
That's a good question. I'll have to look that up and
Okay.
see if there is. But there's a home occupation section of the IDC that restricts the uses and allowable sizes of residents who decide to make sort of like a home office or a home business in their home. So I believe that's already addressed in there. There's not going to be I don't think that this 1,000 square foot would be able to turn into an office space. And
Okay, well, that's fine.
Yeah, that's what I was just making sure that the garage apartment basically already
Anything
calls it residential. Is that your understanding of it?
Well, my thought would be that since there are probably some fallback provisions in the IDC and in other law, that this is probably drafted okay the way it is. The city attorney drafted it, so it's probably fine. The only thing I might add, if you want to amend it, is to just say consisting of approximately 10,016 square feet to be used for residential use. But again, that's part of your discussion that you're having, if you want to make that one-off decision for this one ordinance or not.
I think that makes sense, just to clarify it. And the square footage, because, I mean, you can plus or minus. what
If you
said
do clarify the
approximately.
square footage, though, I would recommend that you say approximately,
Approximately.
because we don't want to
Right.
Yeah, you don't wanna
box
lock
it
anybody
into
down.
something specific.
You move a wall 6 inches, that changes everything.
Right, we're
Exactly.
not- we're- right.
But does the SUP not state the square footage?
In the actual ordinance, I don't believe it was included in there. It just,
Okay,
It's not in this ordinance as drafted right now.
gotcha. So in other words, they could put as many square feet as they wanted to if we.
Right.
Gotcha.
Within code, yeah.
Within code, yeah.
Code and, yeah, encroachments and.
I'm just thinking 10 years down the road, another council looks at this for whatever reason. Just so it's clear. I
Well, that
know I'm a
wouldn't-
language buff, but you know what I mean.
I mean, you've done construction, let me ask, that, adding those two lines wouldn't change how you would do the construction at all, and it wouldn't change the use. Yeah.
I don't think it hampers them in the
That's what,
least,
you know.
right.
So do we need to amend the motion then?
It's your motion, sir.
If you want to.
Personally, I think that the IDC already spells out that, you know, that it's
I
a
disagree with you.
resident to me. So, I mean, I think it's redundant at
Okay.
this point.
That's
It
fine.
could be, and we also got the square footage, and again, just to be, this, you know, basically, you're gonna build this, kinda like the plans, you're gonna build this based on the plans you submitted, and I know they will. We all know they, like most of us know the Bakers, but, just to be, you know, be direct here, and so when future people show up, they can have a model. I think that's the question here, is when we see future applications, this now becomes the model, that we're gonna say this is for residential, and this is how, you know, you told us you're gonna build this many square feet, we're gonna put this many square feet in.
But, okay, I'll play devil's advocate.
Sure,
then.
absolutely,
Is
that's
it-
what we're here for, that's why we're having discussions.
Is it our job as council to tell people that we are going to vote and approve or deny whether or not we like where they put a wall or how many square feet? Or
We're not doing
and-
that.
and-
No,
but hold on, and I get that we're saying we're not going to, but we're asking them, they have to submit it to us. We're gonna, these plans, this square footage, where these walls are, and we're going to approve or deny it. And while everybody up here right now says, well, yeah, but we don't really care about where the process we're putting into play is, and I know this because I lived in the Woodlands before I moved to Shenandoah, is somebody has the ability to come back and go, I don't like where that wall is, so we're not gonna approve this.
Well, what we're saying is, from my perspective, we run through this particularly with, and I know not necessarily with residential, but a lot of commercial developers have come and showed us something,
And then it
and then
turns
gone
out
off and
different,
built
yeah.
off something entirely different.
Sure.
And we've been stuck going, well, the verbiage of the agreement that we signed didn't restrict them from doing that.
But they were asking, in those cases, they were asking for some exceptions to something else, and we were creating in PDDs, and so.
PDDs, right.
Whatever.
Yeah,
But
that's-
had they not been asking.
SUPs or whatever,
Yeah,
yeah.
had they not been asking for some sort of exception, then theoretically, they could have gone and built whatever they wanted to, as long as, again, it fit within code and in zoning. And so my thought process is, in these folks' case, is they should get to go build whatever they want, as long as it's within code. And it.
Within the approved
Within
use for
the-
the region of the.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Zone, yeah.
What the intended use for, now if they start running a daycare out of the back of it or something, then that's use, and that's a different conversation than
Right.
what they actually build, if that makes sense at all. This is just it's Councilman Christie's motion, but
Yeah.
that's just my thought process. I agree with Councilman Raymaker, I think this is a conversation to address in the IDC.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we can take care of these guys. Either way,
I just don't see a necessity in changing the motion. I mean, to me, those things are addressed in the IDC, and the verbiage is in the IDC already to a great extent. We know we're gonna address the IDC at some point as we move forward. That's been an ongoing conversation.
yeah, ongoing, yes.
So, I mean, that being said.
Fair enough.
I see no reason to put some sort of caveat out there that evitually someone, somewhere down the line can come back to
Right.
and say, well, at this point in time,
Right.
they placed this caveat here. I just don't think it's necessary.
And I didn't mean to scare you at all. It's just a matter. We had an opportunity then to address something that we were already working on in the
Right.
IDC, and that's why I brought it up.
Hey, this is a good discussion. These are the-
Ultimately, it's for the protection
Yeah.
of every property owner.
These are the types of discussions that we should be having. We talk about it all the time. We look at all the possible angles, so.
And we want residents to improve
absolutely,
their property.
absolutely.
That's number one
Yeah.
priority for, I would think, this entire body. We've had those conversations repeatedly. We want people to improve their properties, stay here, be, lifelong residents. That's absolutely what we want in the city, so.
Okay,
Mr.
any
Mayor.
more discussion?
Sorry, incidentally, YouTube is down worldwide, apparently.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Somebody broke YouTube. Probably my kids.
Too many votes.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll abstain.
Okay, motion carries 3-0-1 with one abstention. Item 11, a resolution of the city, a discussion and possible action to adopt following resolution. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Shenandoah, Texas, appointing members to the Board of Directors of the Shenandoah Municipal Development District.
Mayor and council, this is another reoccurring item to reappoint directors and President Beavers and Director Sorge, whose terms have expired, back to the board, the MDD Board of Directors.
Do I have a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to reappoint Mike Sorge and Byron Beavers to the MDD.
I have a motion by Councilman McLeod to reappoint. Do I have a second? I have a second by Councilman Christie. Do I have any discussion?
Isn't Mike's term limit up and he's just being extended because we got no one put in there?
He's actually he could go at full
Yeah.
term.
I just,
But
But-
he does, when we find somebody, he wants to step down. And so,
oh, I didn't know about that. I just thought it was.
Yeah, that was the situation.
and so I actually have already approached somebody and having conversations. I don't want to call them out on you. Well,
No.
YouTube's broken, so I don't have to worry about it. I don't.
It's still gonna be recorded. yeah.
But hopefully we'll have somebody else that does want to come serve, and we can relieve
First
Director
year.
Sorich and start our new MDD member.
And Mike's cool, so he can hang around.
Oh, yeah, Mike's,
Yeah,
Mike's,
Mike's
yeah,
fine.
Mike's good. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Item 12, discussion and possible action to adopt the following ordinance, an ordinance of the City of Shenandoah, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Shenandoah, Texas, establishing minimum standards for hotel design and providing for a penalty in the amount of $2,000 for violations thereof.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Councilman McLeod to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Councilman Christie. Do we have any discussion?
I think this
Just-
is a good
yeah,
start. It's,
yeah.
you know, I think it's necessary for us to get started on this. I think there's a lot more.
For the record, can I get
Nuance.
somebody from staff just to give real like a brief snippet of what this ordinance is, just for you later YouTube watchers?
So this is a drafted ordinance at the request of council at a previous meeting to establish a minimum level of service at our hotels. It covers 3 topics, sorry. Room access, covered entry, and balconies. And do you want me to elaborate on each one, or?
No,
Okay.
basically, we're doing away with the exterior doors and we're going interior, and so for new hotels.
Yeah.
I just wanted, when folks go back and watch this, they have a little bit of a,
So this does not address the fact that they're grandfathered to where they are.
no, there's nothing you can do about the ones that
That's
grandfathered
All right.
in, yeah,
Just-
unfortunately.
We're just talking about any new hotels that want
That's
to
fine.
operate.
Any forward motion, they bring that style and, you know, gives us the ability to say.
It just lets staff reject it straight out.
So it's just kind of like ostensibly we've already got something on the book, so don't come with something like that.
Right,
Ask
right.
for it in your SUP.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't even bother asking.
Okay. All right, got it.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I only heard 3 ayes. Everybody say aye?
I said aye.
Okay. Motion carries 4-0. Just making sure, I've already had one abstention tonight. Didn't want to pass up another one. Okay, I'm going to suggest that we table item 13, being that we have multiple staff members not here. We don't have Joseph, we don't have Kathy, we don't have Bill, we don't have Councilman Fletcher, who is also Director Fletcher and is on MDD. So unless somebody's adamantly opposed to that, I'm going to strike item 13 from the agenda, and we'll put it on a future agenda. And when I mean future, probably next
We
month.
just need to
if-
table?
if-
It was
I'll move.
It's discussion only, but
Yeah, just-
Well, I'll move we table it.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion to table, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to table carries 4-0. All right, let's move to the second citizens forum. Anybody want to speak? Nope, okay. Then we'll move to item 15, which is city administrator updates.
Kathy only corresponded 2 with me. One is the need for volunteers for Land the Angels, and then the other is the update on the Grogan's Mill Entergy Loop.
Perfect, thank you. And item 16, our second council inquiry. Anybody?
Pass.
No,
Other
Good.
than saying happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
that's-
The Halloween parade was fantastic. I want to express my appreciation to the police, and I think the citizens absolutely loved it. Got a lot of positive feedback, and so I just wanted to express my appreciation to staff for all the hard work that went into that.
Oh, I did have something then. For the budget, could we get governors so that Ferrand won't go so fast for those of us who have to walk the whole thing?
All right, but I'm gonna amend that because you can't come in flip-flops next year.
I will promise not to
Therein lies
come
the
in flip-flops.
problem. Therein lies the problem. Oh my gosh. But that was a lot of fun. You guys did a fantastic job. Thank y'all so much.
I'm
Ferrand drives
Yeah, about to
faster
say,
than
I'm gonna-
Scott walks.
I'm going to echo what Councilman McLeod said, but I'm going to throw staff in there. I'm going to throw council in there. I saw plenty of council members, tons of staff, up to and including Woody, which probably gets the best costume award as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome.
Absolutely.
I was slacking. I was staying home playing dad, and got to watch it as the parade came by. Man, my kids loved it. They absolutely loved it, and so did all the other kids in the neighborhood that I saw. So I don't know, maybe we started a new tradition. Well, I guess that'll be up to next year's discussions, but I thought it was great. So thank you, everybody, for pitching in on that. Again, happy Veterans Day to all our veterans out there. As Councilman McLeod stated so aptly, happy Thanksgiving. We won't see you until after Thanksgiving, so we hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving with their families. And we also won't see you before the lighting of the angels. So please make sure you come to Lighting of the Angels. If you have the ability to help out, we'd love for you to, but if you can't help, at least come and get to know your neighbors, get to know your staff members, your PD, take part in a great celebration. As y'all know, probably my favorite celebration for the city. I go back and forth. If it's when Easter comes around, I'll say Easter's my favorite, but it's one of those. But nonetheless, it's what makes Shenandoah Shenandoah. So make sure you're there, and it's a great time. So I appreciate everybody coming tonight. And with that, we'll wrap up the meeting since we don't have an executive session. And we'll adjourn the meeting at 7:35. Thanks, everybody.